Well, I hope you're ready for this episode because we're going big. The titan of reptiles, the beast of the sea, the saltwater crocodile. I've been very excited to do this video because let's be real, who doesn't think the salty is cool? And with a crocodilian, I am making up for the last few episodes with the lack of history in them. So, let's not waste any time. Crocodiles are old as shit, or at least the family the crocs belong to. Starting as far back as 250 million years ago, this group of animals shared the earth with animals like Coelophysis and Plateosaurus. And some croc ancestors, like Postosuchus, dominated the land. But these aren't true crocodiles. Those wouldn't come about until 83.5 million years ago. This is where the extinct crocodile favorites would come about. Things like the absolutely massive Deinosuchus and Sarcosuchus. But even still, the genus of crocodile that would consist of our salty friend wouldn't make its debut until 17 million years ago. So, around the time the Crocodylus genus came about, the first apes would take the stage. Saltwater crocs specifically evolved at least 5.3 to 2.6 million years ago, splitting from the Siamese and Mugger crocodiles. Today, the croc king can be found in the oceans from northern Australia to the Solomon Islands, essentially all of the Malay archipelago, mainland Malaysia, and coastal marshlands of Myanmar, Bangladesh, India, and Sri Lanka. And I mean it when I say it's the king. The saltwater croc is the largest living reptile on Earth, which, on the smaller side, females range from roughly 168 to 227 pounds, and span roughly 9 to 10 feet long. Not insane, all things considered. It's around the same size, if not close to the same size, as the Nile crocodile and American alligator. The males, on the other hand, well, they start proving that they really are living dinosaurs, with them averaging at least 900 to 1,700 pounds and a length of 13 to 14 feet. Quite simply, the average for them can reach the weight of the largest alligators and around some of the largest Niles. But the largest salty to ever be recorded was a whopping 20 feet long and 3 inches and weighing 2,370 pounds. A few things that match that weight include a Mazda Miata, a Cessna 172, or, since this is an animal channel mostly, a large Clydesdale horse. Now, culturally, we have plenty to go over, but before I do, there is one piece of culture I feel honor-bound and obligated to bring up. Because as much as it pains me, there are adults today that weren't alive when this incredibly important man was taken from us. That man's name was Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. Now, I'm not going to act like people 20 years younger than me aren't aware of the man, but how important he is, I feel may not be appreciated as much as it should. But, since this is, however, a video about the saltwater croc, I will try to make this as brief as I can. Steve Irwin was a conservationist and naturalist who ran his father's zoo in Beerwah, Queensland. He was the host of the series The Crocodile Hunter, based on an actual nickname he got for his work relocating crocodiles that ventured into residential or dangerous places, and he was well known to do anything in his power to help both people and animals whenever the chance arose. As for all of us kids from 1994 to 2006, he was an outstanding role model, which he obviously was to his kids, as his whole family was part of his endeavors. And from his wife Terry to his 2 kids, Robert and Bindi, who both have done great things to continue their father's legacy when it comes to animal education and conservation, especially Robert, who has, even to this day, made a decent amount of cameos in nature-inspired or animal-related media, filling in his father's footsteps, which I'm sure his mother is very proud of. I feel that's enough about Steve for now, though I highly recommend looking into his works. As for the crocodile's more ancient cultural influence, let's start with Australia, since we're already there. And it's unfortunate to say, but as I've discussed before, it's all oral, so it's kind of lacking in details. But quite often, the crocodile was used as a focal point of dream stories. These dream stories would often be used to teach some form of moral lesson. The people of the Tiwi Islands also saw it as a totemic animal. Totemic is essentially a fancy way to say sacred. But speaking of sacred crocs, the people of Timor have the Tiwatians beat, as their creation story actually centers around the salty lizard. The story is known as La Fake Dayak, or the Good Crocodile, and to summarize it, a boy found a young crocodile struggling to get from a lagoon to the sea and decided he would aid the animal in reaching the ocean. The croc promised to take the boy on adventures across the sea once he was large enough to do so. When the time came, the croc traveled with the boy on his back to many journeys, all while fighting his natural urge to eat the boy. After taking advice from many animals of the land, like the buffalo, tiger, and monkey, the shame of the crocodile caused him to feel he would never be able to properly repay the boy. With this understanding, as he died of old age, he informed the boy his body would become a new land for him and his descendants to populate. His body would then become the island of Timor, and to this day, the island is also sometimes known as the Island of the Sleeping Crocodile. And while not as impactful, the saltwater crocodile does have a very small bit of influence here in the States, as it is actually the crocodile species that is named and used as the resident of Lake Placid, the cult classic horror movie? Action movie? I think it was supposed to be a horror movie, but I'll be honest, it's not that scary. With all that said and done, that's all I have for this episode. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. If there's anything you'd like to add, feel free to leave it in the comments. But until next time, go outside, touch grass, drink water, hug your loved ones. Bye-bye.